Now let's look at adjectives. Adjectives are in many ways like the possessive adjectives that we just did. The possessive adjectives are mой, твой, наш, ваш, and also the question чей, whose. Adjectives also have to agree with the noun that they modify in Russian in gender and number. So look at these examples. Наш дом новый. Новый, new, describes наш дом, our house, and is masculine, and takes a masculine adjectival ending. Take a look at the next example. Petrovich – русское отчество. Petrovich is a Russian patronymic. The word for patronymic отчество is neuter, and русское is an example of a neuter adjective. Ваша машина большая. Is your car big? The word for big, большая, matches in gender, feminine, with ваша машина. The answer, нет, она маленькая. No, it's small. Маленькая is feminine to match она. Она, meaning it, matches ваша машина, feminine. Эти книги интересные. These books are interesting, and interesting is plural. Notice that in Russian adjectives, the actual ending is different from the ending on the noun. Now, if you've taken Spanish or French, you know that the Spanish adjectival form or the French adjectival form usually mirrors the noun adjectival form. They look the same. But in Russian, the adjectival endings are different from the noun endings. They have to agree in gender and number, but the actual endings look different. So, dom ends in 0, and новый ends in uy и краткое. Русское отчество. The отчество ends in o, but русское ends in o, ye. And so on and so forth. Also, in Russian adjectives, if the adjectival ending is not stressed, we often can't hear exactly what it is. So take русское отчество. You really can't hear whether the ending on русское is spelled oye or aya. You have to know that it's spelled oye because it is modifying отчество, which is neuter. Similarly, when we say that our car is small, наша машина маленькая, you really can't hear where the on маленькая is spelled aya or oye. The fact that we're modifying машина tells us that the ending has to be feminine, and therefore the adjectival ending for маленькая is spelled aya. Here's a chart of all of the adjectives. So, an example of a perfect adjective, one that has no exceptions, is not affected in any way by any spelling rules, is новый. Masculine новый, as in новый дом. Neuter новое, as in новое пальто, new coat. Feminine новая, as in новая машина, new car. Plural новые, for all genders. We could say новые газеты, новые платья, new dresses. Новые кассетники, new cassette machines, masculine. All genders in the plural take the uye ending in the adjective. Now take a look at the word русский. Русский ends not in uy и краткое, but in и краткое because of the 7-letter spelling rule which you already saw being used in nouns. In neuter, we don't have any spelling rule problems. It's русское. We're allowed to write oye after ka. In the feminine, there are no spelling problems. Русское. But in the plural, we have a 7-letter spelling rule problem. We would like to write русское, but we can't. We have to say русские. Take a look at хороший. Хороший in the masculine, хороший дом, also has a 7-letter spelling rule problem. We can't write uy after sha. In the plural, skip over to the green column, the plural, you get хорошие, also a 7-letter spelling rule problem. There's no spelling rule problem for the feminine. Look at the red column, хорошая. There's nothing keeping us writing aya. But look at the blue column that marks neuter. There we write хорошее. That's because we have a new spelling rule coming up. That's the 5-letter spelling rule, which is given on this slide. After the letters ц, ж, ча, ша, xia, unstressed or must be rewritten as ye. So, if we look again at our adjectives, we have the 5-letter spelling rule operating for the neuter хорош ye. If you look at the blue neuter column down at the 7 and 5-letter rule under хорош ye, that unstressed or that I would have liked to have written in хорошее has to be rewritten as ye. хорош ye. If you are asked to write out the 5-letter spelling rule and give an example, and you will be asked to do that on a test, your answer is, the 5-letter spelling rule says that after the letters sha, xia, che, zhe, and se, you cannot write unstressed or. You can write stressed or. You cannot write unstressed or. You must replace it with ye. The only example that you know so far is хорош ye. Take a look at the adjective right below хорошее, большой. Большой in the masculine takes an ending of oi because all adjectives that are stressed in the ending take an oi ending in the masculine. You might ask, well, how do I remember those? Well, you memorize them. So far we've had большой, какой, which one, плохой, bad, and большой, big. In the neuter, we have большое, as in большое окно, a big window. If you think for a second, wait a second, that's an or being written after a sha. Is that not a violation of the 5-letter spelling rule? No, it's not, because the or of большое is stressed. A stressed or is perfectly legal after a sha. An unstressed or is not. So, хорошее, but большое. Feminine, большая, большая газета, no problems there. Plural, большие, big problems. Большие проблемы. Why? Because we have an instance again of the 7-letter spelling rule. Finally, we have a bunch of adjectives that are naturally soft. Their endings must always preserve softness. There are only about 50 of them in Russian. You've had 2 of them in this unit. One of them is синий, dark blue, and the other is последний, last or latest, as in последняя версия, the latest version. In those adjectives, we always use soft endings, and those endings are и краткий, синий for masculine. For example, синий стол, a blue table. Синее for neuter, синее пальто. Синяя for feminine. Синяя стена, a blue wall, let's say, or синяя книга, a blue book. And then the plural, синие, синие книги, written и-е. Those are the adjectival endings in Russian.